Welcome to the Beacon by Soul 33, teachings for your past, present and future. Good morning everyone. It is December 4th here in Auckland, New Zealand. Now if you're listening to this on YouTube, on Spotify, on the Beacon app, don't forget to tag, share, let people know that this app exists. I fully fund this by myself, and obviously your subscriptions really help for me to be able to keep all the resources coming and update the app so that you have your spiritual application on your phone at any time for your healing and your soul progression. How are you all? How was your week last week? I, as you know, was in the other part of New Zealand and had a wonderful time catching up and recreating memories, as I mentioned to you last week. And, I sat and reflected over the week about the Monday mantra, which I said, which was my inner story influences my outward experiences. And I was really thinking about, what was going on for me and with the full moon energy and this opportunity to let go and looking at experiences that are disappointing or delays or conflicts. These were coming up in order for us to be able to recreate our outward experiences, because we need to be able to create space within ourselves for our manifestations, for our physical world to change. And so I always, because being an aware person, I always look at what's going on around me in terms of what information is coming through me or towards me. And I had a friend of mine who is very young, in her 30s, who is very fit, who messaged me and said, I've been diagnosed with breast cancer on Tuesday. She's small children. And I was thinking, this information's come to me. This is for me to understand this other person's experience. So I thought, okay, my inner story influences my outward experiences. Now, this led to a discussion, excuse me, with my partner around the inner world. We are all motivated to do things from a different core, okay? So each one of us has different motivators as to why we do things. And sometimes our motivation isn't of love or of balance or of harmony. Instead, it might be insecurity, fear, wanting to be accepted, wanting to avoid conflicts, wanting to feel worthy by doing things that will make you more appealing, to perform, to be loved, all of those things. And so it got me thinking again, my friend is having this experience, and while she looks amazing and she's healthy, there must be something else going on underneath that's requiring the time to purify thoughts and free themselves of restriction on some level. Because remember, those of you who are here listening to these every week, you have to look underneath everything that I'm saying, because it's very hard for me to articulate simply what it is that I'm trying to explain to you. So you need to look beyond all of it. So, when things like that happen, whether it's a health diagnosis or something is happening around you and you're like, but I've done everything and I've been doing all the right things, there is something underneath. Because I know for myself as well, when there's something going on in my outer world that I'm going, what is going on? I look internally to go, okay, there must be an insecurity here, Gaia. Oh, yes, I feel that, or I'm really fearful, or I'm desperate, or whatever it is. So what was the outer experiences for you last week, and what was the correlation to your inner? Many people won't be able to see the correlation, but those of you who are meditating, following the teachings, who are on the path and healing themselves and wanting to be more conscious, will understand that there is a strong correlation. Because as I went through the week, I experienced a lot of flow last week. And I was thinking, okay, this is because I've done a lot of work to be in this position of being in the flow. I didn't have a week of restrictions. I had a week of going, hang on, everything that I've done so far has led me here to be able to make future plans from a place of space and the foundation that I've built. And stagnation, is beginning to leave us. So, for example, the cancer situation, it is a lump in the breast. And that is a stagnation. There's something on some level that requires digging around physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that has created an active role in this person's life. And that feminine energy that I was talking about in last week's mantra, which I'm reiterating now for you to remember, is going, hang on, there's something I'm afraid of. And, the Louise Hay's work, looking at what the metaphysical reasons are for health manifestations. This is why it's really important that we understand that our vessel is something that needs to be balanced. The other thing that was coming up for me, which I need to mention, now remember, what I tell you is from my experience. It's from a lot of experience. For my relatively short life so far, I've seen a lot of people. And what I notice is humility is very, very important. Balance. Now, I know in the world we need polarity. I know in the world some people are going to be on the front line standing up for what they believe in. That's really, really important. For me, it's being in balance. And I know that those of us that are on this path of awakening and trying to understand, life must be in balance. This doesn't mean that you don't have views or that you don't take a stance, which you're going to remember why I'm saying that when I talk about this week's Monday mantra. I just notice that whenever I see clients who have some significant issues, health or anything else, they're usually publicly taking a stance on something. So I've got a lot of throat clearing going on today. There's a lot to say, obviously. So my throat chakra is very activated right now. But this is why I mentioned last week, don't share publicly what is truly precious to you, because you just never know. It's almost like the ego is going, I need to show you this has happened for me, and I need to... And like I said, it can come. Where is the source of it? What's the core of it? Is it coming from a place of like, I've got this information out there, or this is a really cool thing that's going to inspire you? Or am I showing you because there's something more that I need validation? So this is what I'm saying. It's like looking at the core of what your motivation is and taking a stance on things, but doing it in a way that is empowering rather than making people feel bad for their choices, because nobody is wanting to hurt people, not intentionally anyway. I mean, there are some people, I'm talking about those of us that are looking at life differently, but we sometimes, when we are too much one way, the body, the experiences and the outer world's going, okay, well, this is going to happen now. We're going to pull you back over here to try and get you back in balance again. So did anything happen for you last week to get you back in balance again? For me, my week was very, like I said, in flow, doing what was right for me in that moment because I had the space to be able to do that. That's where I was at. But I know that with the information that was coming to me from other people, a lot of people were going through this thing of, wow, so what is my inner story that is creating this outer world, outer experience for me? We are at the core also igniting passion again for what we're doing, loving ourselves more deeply. And I felt that with me last week. I had space again to do things for myself, having faith in the decisions that we're making and the progress that we're making. And November has been a time of depth and love in some way, coming back to that space. And with the need for more depth and connection, we're being asked to make decisions to give us more security in the physical life. So, how did you build your self confidence over November? How did you connect more deeply in love, with love? And how were you shown the light of which way to go? Like my trip to Christchurch really topped me up. It was really a rewriting of an old story of seeing people that I really care about. It really topped me up. It gave me a new sense of purpose. It gave me a new sense of like, wow, I've got so much support and love around me from people who knew me before Soul 33 and just know me as the woman that I am. And as we progressed throughout the week, we had the be patient card come up. And, we're all trying to rebuild ourselves with a new story in some way. It's like, I'm rewriting a lot of my personal life at the moment, claiming back a lot of my time and a lot of my own feelings because I'm constantly feeling other people's feelings when I work. And I had the space to rewrite and rewire to what I wanted to do for the new story. This takes time and awareness to go, oh, hang on, this is happening to me now. And is this more of what I want? Do I want to change this? And there's no rush to receive in our outer experience, but it's about being patient with it, being patient knowing that it takes time to really change your internal state and just focusing on that inner foundation and letting the wisdom and trust really vibrate out where it's your true source of being, that things are going to show up for you at the right time. Like, I know that a lot of people are in a stalemate situation also where they're just stuck. But the more you meditate, the more you discover yourself, the more you understand what your blocks are and patient with that discovery, the more things are going to start to work out for you. And remember, our earth journey is only a very small part of the entire soul's evolution, the entire soul's journey. And so when I talk about things working out, it's not just right now, it's overall on your journey of existence. I had a really great week last week. So last week, Self-Love Club with Belle Crawford, she's put out part 2 of our podcast. So you can search the Self-Love Club on your app stores, on your podcast providers, and be able to listen to the part 2. And also Woman Magazine in New Zealand, a beautiful magazine. They've relaunched as a quarterly, absolutely stunning. And I know a lot of you are not here in New Zealand, but those of you are, it's launched as a volume 1 and it's just full of empowering content and all the good stuff, fashion and all of the things. But I was really honoured to be invited to write something about 2024 in there. So there's a beautiful feature in there from Soul 33. So if you have a chance to get that, definitely have a look and keep it and review it over the year so that you can keep checking back and being aware of what you're being asked. And, this is all, again, part of the rewrite of your story by understanding the stance you take and why. Why am I taking the stance on this particular aspect of my life? Why am I responding to life like this? Things change for the better when your inner world takes time to purify and heal. And that's why we get stopped in our tracks sometimes to deal with things, because if we don't review, if we don't transmute, if we don't purify and understand, we don't change. We can park it, we can push things, they start developing tumors in the body, they start giving us digestion problems, they start giving us all kinds of things if we don't just stop to look at it, to purify and heal the inner world so we can rewrite the story. Somehow your story has begun to change. And on some level, if you look back at last week, I'm not talking about last week a lot. Obviously, I divide up the energy forecasts so it's easy for us to all look at what we're needing to focus on the week. But how did your story start to change last week? Mine became a beautiful tale. It became a beautiful tale of time to be able to spend with friends and to cook and to do all the things that I like to do. You know, I can feel the shift from the time I took to purify myself. That vibration is bringing back my power, a silent and patient and evolved power where things just came to me. The Woman magazine thing came and Belle's podcast came up. You know, I don't know when these things are going to be launched or put out into the world. And even Frank Alaridi with the podcast that I did in the States last year, he put up a post, which I didn't know. And, you know, the top 5 countries, new countries listening to him, New Zealand was on the list. And he said, I know that's you, Gaia. You know, it's amazing for me when you actually stop that, you know, your power is really shown to you without you having to do anything. And thank you for all of those who listen to the podcast, and because you're supporting their exchange that we do when we're featured on podcasts or shows or whatever that is. So what have you rewritten? Really answer that question to yourself now, you listening. What have you rewritten? Consciously really know that, because it's really important. Otherwise you won't know what stance you're taking and how changes have been made. We've learned what we needed to in November, and now the space is being created for momentum as we move toward 2024. So a lot to think about, and I've spoken quite slowly, clearing my throat, and my throat has completely, it's decongested now. So you know that hearing this today is actually clearing your throat chakra. And I want you to clear your throat for me now and feel that space. Because remember, just being around me, my trip to Christchurch has actually healed a lot of things for my family as well. Because remember, they went through a lot of racism and all kinds of things when we were there. But we also met beautiful people who I reconnected with while I was there too. So clear your throat and remember, I'm here for you in as many ways as I possibly can, but I know that everyone is waiting for sessions. Please remember, I'm only one person and I'm doing my very best to have different ways that I can be available to you, and this app is the way to be available, to be able to access me, my meditations, the oracle deck, the moon phase calendar. There's so many different ways. And remember, the group chat is there for you to anonymously or letting us know who you are, what's happening for you, what cards are you pulling, what are you seeing during your meditation, what are you feeling, how is the Monday mantra playing out for you. Take the time to share, because as Kieran and I say, we know a lot of you read it and you're not necessarily contributing. And so whatever you share will be helping people on some level. I'm really proud of all of you for being here and taking the time, because this healing journey is very, very important. And so many amazing miracles start to eventuate in the outer experience when we're really dedicating our time to unraveling things, figuring out our stance. There are mini readings. Soul Magics are on waitlist at the moment, and also personalized meditations. As you know, those of you who have them, they are very, very powerful. I spend a lot of time creating those for you, and it's a great way for you to be able to receive some sort of energy work towards what you're wanting or what you're wanting to heal. And someone had sent through a review to Kieran, who's forwarded it to me. I've been doing the meditation, a personalized meditation, every day without fail, and I can see the huge shift in me already. First week of doing that, I let myself be extremely vulnerable, and all of the doubt, insecurity, jealousy, scarcity, abandonment feelings came up, and I went deeper to embrace them, as I know I'm supported by you, Gaia, and the spirits. Eventually, I was able to release them. I'm on my third week now. I continued focusing on meditating. The doubt, jealousy, insecurity, and scarcity didn't even come up at all. It was replaced with unconditional love and gratitude. Thanks to Gaia's guides and healing my feminine energy, I suddenly clicked and realized that when my heart is no longer in that control or scarcity, it's blissful and powerful. And I completely surrender to the universe and trust the divine timing and let myself receive. And that's exactly it. It's a wonderful review. There's a lot more, but I just wanted to read that part because it's really what this is about. You know, when you're facilitated by the right person, and we all need help. I've got a team of people that help me, my massage therapist, my hairdresser who's a healer in her own way, my energy healers also who help me sometimes when I've got things stuck on me from clients that I can't shift myself because I can't see it, because the gift is for you. They help me. We all need help on some level. And so when you have a personalized meditation like that, it can absolutely help you in your own time. Keep taking the layers off. And I create them in a way that you can do them forever, regardless of what's changing, because we are in this 3D, false reality of life. And the density of things just keeps accumulating, and we need to shift it out. That's why we like the body. It needs to be stretched, it needs to be nourished. You can't just do that once and expect everything to go away. It's a real discipline and dedication. So if you're needing any help, your membership for the app is only $60 a year, which is very, very nominal. We keep it off the app stores so that I don't have to triple the amount of the subscription, because I want it to be affordable by everyone. If you need any help at all, Kieran's the person to ask, and just stay on the wait list. We will get in touch with you when it's the right time, and it's always the right time. Those clients who have been with me since day one, you always know you might be booking in for something, but it ends up being about something else, because Spirit's going, you're not going to see Gaia for a while, but when you do, all of these things would have happened, and that's what she's going to be addressing. It's never what you think. soul33@gmail.com if you're needing Kieran for any help. And remember, IT things as well, email her, please. Those of you who are just joining the app, please check your spam for your password emails and all of that, because it'll come from FreeVocal. So that's where you look in case you're looking for passwords or the link once you've registered to be able to make payment for your subscription. Okay, going into this week's Monday Mantra. My current circumstance reveals my power. My current circumstance reveals my power. So, for example, the friend that has been just diagnosed with cancer, she's positive about this. She's like, I am going to be coming out fighting fit. She's finding her power. So, giving you an example, I know I've got a very busy week. I've got a lot on, but within that, I know that my power will be resumed because I've taken it a bit slow over the last couple of weeks just to give myself some time. So December is here. We want to understand what we've learned from November and take some sort of stance. Now, stories are being rewritten, as we've mentioned, and as we know, but we need some space and energy to create the bridge towards momentum for 2024. Now, some are finding themselves in a place of stability, and others are not sure why things have happened. This is why that inner world, what's going on with you at your core, is going to explain to you what's happening outside. Things are wrapping up at this time of year, physically, karmically, emotionally, but wherever you find yourself, your true power will be revealed. So more of that will be coming out this week. So you might find yourself having to stick up for yourself this week, having to back yourself, or just really seeing your power from a different place. Self-discovery can only happen when there's a circumstance pushing you towards your greatness, and that can come from places of vulnerability too. Discover yourself through some independence and making a commitment to your greatness. So that independent thing came up last week. It was about, whether you had to walk alone sometimes too, that's okay. So really think about and look at how the independence towards making a commitment to your greatness. Spirit's telling me now this is also about reinvesting or investing in yourself. So it could be reinvesting if it's a business, or investing in yourself. So do you understand the power you have within your circumstance? So what is your inner story? What is happening externally for you? And how is this revealing your power? So this is how the Monday mantra is continuing on the chapters for you to understand what power you have. Power to be able to recreate your life, recreate your body, your mindset, all of those things. You'll need to take some sort of stand or stance, perhaps a boundary, but it's going to be coming from your place, the place of your guidance from within your intuition. So before you speak up or before you act, really just think about what the stand is that you're taking. Like before we fight for anything, or before we, become advocates for something, we need to know where we stand on the topic. So that's going to come up in some way for next week as well. And you'll be using your voice. Okay, I forgot that I'd written that. No wonder my voice was throat chakra was clearing all of yours as well. It's because we need that clarity. Because you can tell I'm not clearing my throat anymore. In order for us to follow our dreams, we sometimes have hurdles to overcome, which is where you see the truth in your power. But you'll be surprised this week as to how influential you are. Now, I believe it's next week, and I'll remind you on the Monday mantra. We have got a Mercury retrograde coming up. So this is why all this voice clearing, taking a stance, all of that stuff is coming up, because we want to be clear on our communication, because we know that during Mercury retrograde, there can be communication breakdowns. Nothing to worry about, but we'll talk about it when it comes up in the next Monday mantra. So if you're able to now, just take a moment with me, and you've heard what I've had to say. I've said it to you personally. You've got a lot of power, and regardless of your circumstance, you are going to find that power even more. It's going to be revealed to you layer by layer and give you stability that you're wanting, because you trust yourself, because you know that for every ending, there's always a new beginning. And to discover your greatness, sometimes we need to be pushed. We need to be pushed to the point where we are forced to surrender, and that's when the miracles happen. So giving you now the energy of power. Power to speak, power to take a stance, power to be able to handle everything in your life, because nothing is happening in your life because you can't handle it. You absolutely can. Your Monday mantra is: my current circumstance reveals my power. My current circumstance reveals my power. Remember, if you need any help, Kieran is the person to ask, soul33@gmail.com. Sending you a lot of power this week, and knowing that you are in co-creation with your inner world and the universe to make life the way you want it. P.S. It is the first week of a new month, and as every first week of a new month, I put up a new meditation. So look out for that towards the middle of the week.